Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to come and present to you. You know, when I actually put together this slide and I had a couple of people outside talking to me and I told them I'm also going to talk about sustainable AI, I saw a lot of look of surprises. HPE is known as an infrastructure company, right? We sell servers, storage, network, software services. Sustainable AI somewhere didn't click. And that's where I would like to start this, my basic pitch for you. AI is not new. AI has been around for the last 30, 35 years, right? It's not new at all. So what is new? What is new is the scale, right? Come September last year, October last year, ChatGPT made a big announcement, everybody, and suddenly generative AI was in households. Everybody was using ChatGPT to do homework at home. They were using it to make presentations. So suddenly the reality of AI hit everybody, right? So if you look at what has changed is we've known the massive data growth. We've seen the rise of AI models. I don't know how many of you have heard. I'm sure you would have. We have ChatGPT for global. We are very shortly going to have Bharat GPT. We already have a chatbot like Hanuman, which is already doing stuff for us. So there are going to be a lot of large language models coming up, new algorithms, etc. So the demand that this has thrown to a lot of companies like us is how do you deal with performance? How do you deal with sustainability? How do you deal with efficiency? These are real challenges that you're going to see going forward. 15 minutes is a little difficult to cover a lot of this, but let me try and give you a context. Why do we talk about sustainable AI? What I'm going to show you now is not research done by some great research company. It's just some basic back of the envelope calculations. You take a single house in a remote village, right? Having typically maybe one light bulb, maybe one 5 amp point to maybe charge a phone, right? 200 watts, typically, bare minimum for one, that kind of a setup. If it is a small village of let's say 50 such houses, you need approximately 10 kilowatts of power, right? Let's look at this side of things. If you run a single GPU server today, okay, with 8 GPUs, do you know how much power it needs? Just one server, 10 kilowatt. So the amount of power that you need to run one server with 8 GPUs can actually power a small village in a remote part of the country. This is the reason why sustainability is extremely critical, right? So if you look at a small Gen AI infrastructure, now we spoke about one GPU server, right? We all want to run LLMs. We all want to do generative AI. If I want to run a small setup of just 1,000 GPUs, trust me, it's a very small setup to run generative AI. I need 1.2 megawatts of power. That power can actually power 128 small villages. So does it mean we stop doing AI and only focus on powering villages? Not an option. Because if we are not going to be part of the AI race, we are going to struggle. There is a saying in a lot of AI forums that the next war will be a cyber war. It may not really be a ground war, right? It may be a cyber war. And that will be driven by AI. So we have to be there right in the front. So what do we need to do given all of this background, right? First, can we size optimal infrastructure? Rather than just put money and buy everything that is available, can we size it right? Can we make the right decisions and designs on power usage, right? Most important. What I spoke about in the previous slide was just to power a server. Do you know to cool that server, you need almost the same amount of power? So that same amount of servers and power that you need to run a small Gen AI, you need equal amount of power to cool it. So can we have the right cooling technologies as well? Green data centers. Everybody talks about climate change, right? It is very heartening to see, and I'll show you some of it even here in India. A lot of our large data center partners are now looking at adopting green energy, right? Extremely, extremely critical. The recycling of used equipment. What happens when the equipment that is being replaced, what do we do with that? And of course, the circular economy. So let me quickly jump into it. Why is HPE in a position to actually talk about some of these things? Like I said, AI is not new. It's been around for 20, 30 years. And we have been right at the forefront of designing a lot of those infrastructures for those last 20, 30 years. If you look at today, the largest supercomputers in the world, and there is a whole lot of discussion about HPC on one side, AI on one side. Some say it's very different, some say it's parallel, some say it's merging. I'm not even going to go down that debate because I don't have that time here right now. But if you look at the sheer scale of those kind of infrastructure, today we run the fastest system in the world is run on HPE, right? But let me focus on the right-hand side to keep in line with what I spoke about earlier. 7 of the top 10 most efficient systems in the world, the largest efficient systems in the world run on HPE, and 11 of the top 15. So not only are we focused on creating good products, but we are very, very sensitive to how to make them green so that we optimize the power that is being used. If you look at the largest systems in the world, in fact, let me go to this one, right? We have started looking at systems which can actually run on renewable power, right? And I told you, it's very, very heartening to see that even in India, we are now looking at data centers, and a lot of them are all over the news as well. Solar power, renewable energy, wind power, right? You're going to see a lot more data centers actually focusing on these kind of technologies. These are already deployed globally. We already have very, very large AI systems using renewable power to be able to drive their AI workloads and adoption. And these systems are not small, right? As India, you have seen, we are driving to set up AI infrastructure with 20,000 GPUs, 25,000 GPUs. There are countries in the West that have already taken that head start. You're looking at systems with 37, 60,000 GPUs. That's the kind of systems that are being run. These are actually enough to actually power a decent town. So it's extremely, extremely critical to ensure that when we are driving AI from an infrastructure standpoint, we give equal amount of thought to what is the kind of power and how can we make it sustainable, right? That's going to be extremely critical. Again, a few examples of a few sites. I think the point that the last 2 slides also drive is, number one, we understand the workload because we've been doing supercomputing for, like I said, the last 20, 30 years. We understand scale. Number 2, we understand what the workload is supposed to do, how to benchmark that workload to make it run better on lesser. Sounds strange, but it's true, right? It's a journey that the HPC research industry has been through. My firm belief is that the AI industry is already just starting on that journey. You will see them also kind of, learning and adapting as we grow. There is a mechanism where in the start, you just want to have the maximum capacity. But as you walk along the journey, you realize you have to learn how to optimize it as you go forward. We've been doing that for many, many years. I thought I'll just leave this as one example of what AI at sovereign levels is doing. We had AI earlier, which was more around research, drug discovery, right? Maybe materials, maybe designing your jet engine, stuff like that. But increasingly now, AI, sovereign AI, is directed towards citizen services. And this is going to be the UK's largest AI setup, primarily targeted towards citizen services, right? How can you give a citizen the best possible experience, the quickest amount of turnaround time for what he demands? And trust me, we are involved with a lot of discussions with Government of India as well, and you're going to see a lot of these getting rolled out as we go forward. The prime basis for sustainability will be having purpose-designed infrastructure, right? One is to have infrastructure that is general purpose, and all of us know server storage. There are lots of general purpose platforms out there. But when you talk about sustainability, the first step is to have purpose-designed infrastructure, right? There is certain specific outcomes that you desire from what you are deploying, be it a GPU server, be it an APU server, be it a CPU server. The ability to have a platform which is specifically designed to deliver the outcome that you're looking for becomes critical, and that's what we focus on. Rather than have general purpose compute, which is always there, have purpose-built platforms specifically meant for AI. One of the fundamentals of having a green data center is having right cooling technologies, right? And today, all of us are familiar with our typical data centers that used to cater to 7 kilowatt, 8 kilowatt. The moment you talk about the AI world, your start point is a 40 kilowatt, and that's a base. Today, we are already supporting 120, 130 kilowatt racks at customer sites. And that's where liquid cooling comes in, right? We have been promoting liquid cooling for many, many years now, because in our opinion, that is the most important step towards a sustainable IT. Then somebody has to bring it all together, right? How quickly can you get on the road, hit the road running, get your application up and about? Infrastructure is one, getting it ready is second, and then delivering the outcome, right? And that's where HPE Services comes in. Right from a customer who says, here is my data, this is the outcome I need, build the journey for me. We can do that, right? Absolutely cherry pickable. You will have certain expertise of your own. You might want us to augment some of that. Happy to do that. We can walk the entire mile. I won't spend too much time on this and use cases. Again, performance. The reason why do we need infrastructure that performs well? Obviously, the answer is if you're building sustainable IT, how quickly you can churn around more number of outcomes is what will determine how efficient your infrastructure is. And that's why having the best performing infrastructure is key, right? And we are right there at the top for that as well. My last slide, easy for us to talk about what all everybody else needs to do, but are we doing it ourselves? And the answer is yes. We ourselves are doing it. We have already promised that we will have a 70% reduction in our carbon footprint by 2030, right? And by 2040, it's going to be down by 90%. We have consolidated our data centers globally. We used to have close to about, I think, 20-25 data centers globally. We are now down to 7, right? So not only are we promoting and talking about sustainability, but we are one of the largest adopters of that sustainability ourselves, right? So I think that was all I had. Important takeaways. Number one, I think we have the understanding of the workload. We understand the scale. We have been deploying this for years together, right? Happy to share that expertise. We have partners, an extensive partner ecosystem that we work with, data center partners, application partners, system integrator partners. Happy to leverage all of that to drive your outcomes, right? That's all. Thank you so much.